Hello, hello. I have now achieved 5G in my veins. I have the vaccine and it hasn't knocked me out yet. You know, it's been a good 8 hours since and I'm still feeling good. So we're going to film day one decks right here, right now. It's going to be enhanced. I can smell triggers, see triggers. You know, all my senses are just super heightened right now. It's pretty great. But let's do day one decks. And of course, day one decks means it's day 3 decks or week 1 decks, whichever it may be. But a day lasts as long as we think it to be. So we have the following clans in this set. We have Link Joker, basically my main hype. We have Kagero, which I also enjoy playing a lot. Aquaforce, Bermuda, and I'm forgetting one, which is Genesis. There we go. So I've got some early builds for all of them, and we're going to go through them, starting with Link Joker. So Link Joker is my probably favorite clan from this set. Really been enjoying it. It's finally meta again. Feels good to play again. And of course we can use the Tomari skin as well, which is great. So this is what the Link Joker deck looks like right now. For my testing, I've done quite a few kind of like changes here and there. The only thing that you could change that I haven't traded for yet is your one of grade 3. I run Chaos because you just need it to be a star-vader name. It doesn't have to be Chaos. You just need something with a star-vader name. And there's actually a Legion that legions with Radon that is a tournament reward, so you have to exchange for it. So you can easily use that as your one of. It's quite fine. But what does this deck actually do? So we have 2 legions. First we have the Garnet Star, who legions with Photon, who when you legion, you have to discard a star-vader from your hand to choose an opponent's front row and back row rear guard and lock them. So it doesn't cost counterblast for once to do 2 locks, which is really good, right? Just discard 1 to lock 2 is really cool, and it gets 2 killing attacks to Vanguard. So this is like, once we don't have counterblast, we go into this. While we have counterblast, we go into Imaginary Plane Dragon, which lets you, on Legion, counterblast 2, discard a Star-Vader to lock up to the amount of rear guards as you have units in your middle column. So you have 2 in the middle column from Legioning and 1 booster, so you basically get to lock 3 for counterblast 2 and discard 1, which is really, really nice. So quite cool, good legions, and basically like you do this one while you have counterblast, you do this one while you don't. You have to discard star-vaders for them. So the break ride is like a fine card to ride sometimes, so that's basically our heal trigger here. Apart from that, Photon is also a nice addition. When you call it, if your Vanguard is a star-vader, counterblast 2, lock an opponent's rear guard. It's actually quite good because you can like use this to lock 2, and then you use him to counterblast 2 and lock the 3rd one. So it's pretty good, and you control the board like that. You have ways to relock stuff. You also have ways to omega lock stuff. It's pretty good. Colony Maker is ever so key right now as well to like support that board. 12k attackers, and this is the new grade 1 that I really like. On play, Soul Blast 1, give another rear guard plus 5k. This is a Star-Vader, so you can actually search out with Colony Maker to make like, you can make like a column with Colony Maker in this, which will be 14, but you can give the 5k to something else to make 21, therefore you're hitting over defensives, which is really nice, and it fills up your drop zone for Legion, which is really good. The starter has resist, which is the main factor, so you actually like don't lose it in the very popular matchups that retire your stuff all the time. And also when you're in Legion state and your opponent has a locks card, you can counterblast 2 and put them into your soul to choose an opponent's front row and back row rear guard and lock them. So you basically get to usually triangle lock with that. So it's quite good, and I really like this deck. It's quite fun, and here's your early list. Perditions I played a couple games with. I'm not too sold yet on Dauntless. I feel like it slows down the deck a little bit. Of course, Vortex Dragonute, when you're in Legion state, lets you counterblast 2 and discard a card with the same name as one of your Vanguards to pop 2 of your opponent's rear guards that are grade 2 or less, and then deal your opponent 1 damage if they have 4 or less damage. So you basically do the 1, 2, 3, and the damage you deal with this effect is like the effects are nullified. So if they get a heal or a draw, nullified, doesn't happen. So it's pretty good. But I think with Dauntless this could work pretty nicely in that you get to like, you know, kill intercepts, push damage, and then get 4 attacks in. It seems like a really strong play. But then you're losing out on like pushing damage with this in the early game, which is a little bit unfortunate. So we run Overlords instead to basically give us other plays to do, you know, when we're not in Legion, or when we just need to like finish off the game, but we like our opponent's at 5 and we're not going to deal damage with the Vortex Dragonute. So that's another thing to think about. I'd say Overlord is like an interesting tool. Basically you get to use it just to kind of clear the front row when your opponent's already at 5. Novell is also really great in this deck because when you're in Legion you do have a grade 2 Vanguard, therefore you can use Novell Roman while being on grade 3 technically, which is really cool, so you can put back your heals. It's basically like a GAN slot. Very cool. Everything else pretty self-explanatory. Bellicosities, Novell Critics, like everything here makes sense. This is a countercharger, and yeah, Kagero stuff, usual goodness, fun times. And then let's look at, this is the new Aquaforce. I think it's actually pretty decent. I haven't tested it myself yet, but this basically lets you push damage and draw cards, which is cool. and this lets you move your circles, which means you can move your locked circles around, and also stand 2 rear guards to get 5 attack combos, which is really cool once you push your opponent to 4 or 5 with the help of Tetra Burst. Glory is still a good finisher. The great 2 is like this has resist, so you can win in the chaos matchup and all that kind of stuff. It's great. This is a Algos. This is like an extra draw card. Just in general, like you have like Wheel Assault. The whole deck is full of good stuff, so it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good to play, but I'm trying to keep it a bit more brief here. I don't know. What else can I really say about this deck? Like, it literally is just like, you have Basil, you have Tidal. This also has the Tidal effect. Like, you have Tidal and Basil, 5 attack combos, crit pushing, draw power. Like, I think this deck should be pretty good. I don't see a way that this deck would be bad, personally. So I think it's pretty nice. I think it's pretty nice. Looking forward, though, we have Genesis Witches, apparently very good. Apparently very good. And so this deck essentially lets you, it has 2 Battle Phase Soul Blasters. This lets you power up your front row Witch rear guards by 5k, so you can hit 21 pretty consistently or higher, which is pretty cool. This lets you tutor for stuff, where at the end of the battle, Soul Blast 3, check top 5, add 2 witches to your hand. And there's a Witch PG, which is pretty cool. And we run all the witches, basically. We run, like, Cider, Valencia, there's, like, all kinds of stuff. They made another, Melissa, not Melissa, this girl, what's her name? Chamomile? They made another Chamomile, but this time it also gets 4k, so it's pretty cool, but you have to have a Witch Vanguard. So it seems pretty good, seems pretty strong. I think this deck is going to be pretty fun. I do want to build it, actually. I think it'd be pretty exciting to mess with. And finally, Bermudas. This one, I think, is okay. It's still a 3-attack deck, but you do have to essentially just, like, you know, tutor for PGs, use Roan. Roan got buffed. She works on Vanguard Circle now too, which is pretty nice. But the Legion is cool because it lets you, like, bounce something and then search for 2 copies of it and gain a crit, which is pretty cool. You just fill your hand up with PGs and countercharge. This lets you bounce locked circles, so it literally counters Link Joker, which is pretty nice. And then this also has resist, so it helps to counter Link Joker and Kagero as well. Just in general, it's like a pretty good deck for what the deck can do. You draw so much, so I just run the countercharger to help you kind of, like, you know, balance the cost. This gains 9. This is a 9k booster, so you can actually make nice columns with, like, whether it's a 12k attacker, which we only run 1 of, but with a 9k that's also going to be like 18k columns, so it still hits for good numbers. Peace is a good card because it lets you draw extra cards and countercharge. So I think overall, like, the deck seems pretty good, but I'm missing a lot. I didn't pull a single one of these Legions, but I do want to build this deck, so maybe somehow I'll be able to. We'll see. It's going to be a bit of a tall order. But yeah, that's basically the decks for this set. I think they're all really good. Like, for once, every deck in the set feels really nice. I think Genesis Witches have a lot of potential. I think Bermuda has really good potential because they don't have multi-attack, but they have so much tutoring that you can, like, search all your PGs, and then basically just do all the cool shenanigans that the deck is capable of. And just, like, you have crit pressure to push with, you can counter Link Joker, which is something not a lot of decks can do, and just in general, it's nice. Just in general, it is quite nice that you can do all that kind of stuff. On top of that, Aquaforce, I think, does have potential. I'm really looking forward to playing with Aquaforce because of the fact that you have these, like, multi-attacks and, like, all this pressure that the deck can do. So I do look forward to messing around with this because I think it has really a lot of good potential. And finally, I think Kagero and Link Joker are probably the best from this set. Especially Link Joker, I really enjoy this deck. So if you want to see me play with it, I'm playing it on my stream a fair bit these days. So yeah, check it out, check us out, leave some love, and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's the day 1 decks for set 20, the 3rd set of Legion, so we're probably around halfway at least from the Legion season. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy messing around with these decks. Of course, make changes as you wish. These are just meant to give you a blueprint to start from and basically just start working with it. So yeah, otherwise that's it for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.